All right, everyone, over here with my friends and fabrication shop, Straight Fabrication. We got Chris and Dustin in here. We're working on the truck and the ESS blower installed. We've also got a 10R80 stager, Mighty Mouse catch can, not catch can, but actually an AOS style system they set up. So we're gonna get that all installed on the truck today. We started making progress on it already. At this point, the front grille and everything's off. We got the intercooler in. We did run into a problem with the intercooler. The bolt pattern on my bumper does not match what the brackets were set as. So I've got a couple of pictures I'll insert here that Dustin made brackets. I'm going to send this over to the folks at ESS, ask them if they were aware of this or if there was a different bracket for the 24 and 25s. But we definitely ran into a small issue where the bolts did not line up on the bumper to mount this. But so far, other than a slight issue with that, we are making some good progress. Well, here we are, progress is being made. So we had to make some spacers for brackets to make this work with where the bumper bolts were. They come back here, in there. And we're in the midst of installing stuff down here. They do have a change to the radiator hose that Dustin just completed and finished up. And then also pulling off the PCV. We're gonna mount the Mighty Mouse up here. They want it to go down here. There's no friggin' way it's gonna fit down there once we get all the stuff routed in here. So we're gonna stick it up where we got room to get to it and drain it. And you have to pull plugs and go through all of that as well. So as part of the instructions on this, we're gonna fill this up with oil. They give you a nice syringe here. Tells you in the instructions, 10mm Allen key. Loosen up the dipstick side here. They include the royal purple that they recommend. They also give you an option for a Vortex Supercharger one as well. You pull out 3 fluid ounces for the first fill. Snug this back down just to get it to that point. And we're going to take this out. Make sure that our oil line is on the right spot. What? And we are on the line right there. You can kind of see it there. If it focuses. About 8 PSI, I believe. Moving right along. Got the blower up here and on. I'm gonna put the big pulley on it to start out with, see what the big one does. This one is also gonna be for pump gas, which I'm probably not gonna tune here initially. I'm just gonna put on E and see where it goes. And we also have a 100mm once I get the first one dialed in and make sure everything's good to go. Further progress made. Dustin's got the boots on. You can see they kind of come down in there. See the supercharger and the routing is everything there. So the rubber hose and the little coupler is down into that to come up to the throttle body. A nice filter. They did provide an extra hose that would normally be replaced right here, but because I am going to a catch can, we're not going to route that. We just plug the bottom side of the hole. We're actually going to route the catch can right up to there. That's going to replace that line and this line and come through on there. And then we've just got to get the air shutters removed, which is the last step on this entire thing. So as you can see on the back side of the grill, we got to disassemble all this and get those out of there so we can actually have flow to the intercooler. All right, we got it all installed. Blower's on, 125mm pulley for right now. We're gonna go with the big one. Did put a, well, it was supposed to be an AOS, but the PCV valve does not come apart on these without specialty tools, so we decided that we were just gonna do it as a standard catch can. An expensive application for it, but that's what we're gonna go with. And gonna finish fixing a couple things in the tune really quick, and we'll go for a startup here. All right. We got the logging hooked up, everything's ready to go. We're gonna see if it wants to start. I hear blower sounds. Yep, it's annoying as fuck. How do we tell if the blow-off valve is doing anything? It's open. It's open? You can see it right there. out. Oh, yeah, we're definitely open. What it's supposed to do at idle. All right, so there we go. We got it installed. Next up, we're gonna go get on the dyno. Thought I was gonna be waiting on that, but Josh has actually got the dyno open right now and said I can go ahead and see what we just made, see how it's working. Those rips I just made, looking at the logs, making about 7 pounds boost. So we're still pretty low boost. 385, 0 to 60 though, is quite impressive from where it was at. It's almost a full second quicker on just the large pulley. I have a 100mm pulley that we can go to. We'll keep looking at it, see how it does in the dyno, check out where my fuel trims are at, wide open. They're within about 3 to 4%, pretty damn good. So not a whole lot of changes I got to make compared to what I'd already put in here. And no leaks, everything's good. We'll, next video will probably be me getting this thing back on the dyno again. All right, folks, here we go with rip number 1 on the dyno. Have it on there. Got everything loaded up. HP Tuners is logging. Already made 1 street hit. Everything's looking good. So let's see what this thing does on the base map I threw together and where we're at. Sorry, it's a little interesting in here to hold on to everything at the same time as you go through this. So, we'll get this going. I have a feeling this thing's going to try to auto shift, so we'll see what happens here. Let's go look at it. It looks like a nice flat line. We made some good power, I think. All right, a couple of things on the graph here. I looked at the log file and actually it pulled back because we exceeded what the torque limit was for my driver demand. So I fixed that up, so it should carry on out now. So we'll make another rip here and see what it ends up at. I didn't let out early. That just happened to be the ECU pulling things back because the torque model for what my driver demand was not sufficient to what the torque it thought it was actually making. But you see on there we did make some good numbers. Wheel horsepower at 650-ish and torque right around 550. So going again, fix the driver demand piece just so we can carry it on out. No other real changes, and to ensure that my transmission's not going to try to upshift while I'm doing this either. All right, here we go for rip number 2. See, I got my logs running, just looking where I'm at, keeping track of, you can see my fuel pressure up here. This is the KPM pump that is not using controller, so the pressure does bounce around a fair amount. During the wide open pull, it's still maintaining 65 PSI. Fuel trims coming in and out because of that right now. Once the idle comes down, it actually cleans right up because it gets rid of some of the cold start stuff that it has with the port injectors and goes off the DI more so. But make another rip here. Better. And it looks like we might have still pulled torque out of it again. We'll take a look at the logs again. You can kind of see where it did that, but let's see what we got. that was what we made just a minute ago. I just made a couple of revisions. We're going to see if we can get a little more out of it here. But that is a big number for the largest pulley ESS has to offer on P85. 714, 561. Going again, made a couple of little changes. Might be at the limit of the pulley that's on there. We pretty much made 10 pounds of boost. Touched 10 at the very end at 7,600 RPM. It was also pulling the throttle blade closed because we had a torque limit again. So modified some more of my torque model. Got another hit here to go, and we'll go from there. All right, we made a rip, made some timing changes, didn't pick anything up. In fact, it dropped a little bit. Also noticed that I made one other thing too that I was trying to see if it had any impact. It might have been the issue, so we made one change back. We just see pulling the timing back out of here if that was what it was. And gonna make one last hit here and then call it a night. This is pull number 4. First 2 were at 650-ish, second 2 were 710-ish. I'll get you a video of the results afterwards because it's kind of hard to do everything in the truck at the same time with the video. All right, there we have it. Both lines pretty much match. Did get just a touch of something here at the end again. I'll take a look at the logs, see if I can clean that back up. So I think maybe my other change was impacting it more than just the timing was. But solid 710, 714. I've got all this working. Seems to be making a nice flat power line on a nice flat torque curve with the supercharger strapped to it. This thing should absolutely rip on the street with now my tune being right. We'll have to go see if I can find a clean part of the road that is not sketchy as can be to run this thing on a 1/4 mile rip. I do just want to show you guys as kind of a finish on this too. Made 652 on my base map, which is where I started at. Never having actually tuned one of these before. This was just some safe theoreticals that I had talking to other people and working with Bader here. And then the red one is the first change of looking at the data that we made going into this. So this literally took 2 pulls to get this thing dialed in, okay? I still have some fine tuning for drivability to do, but as far as making power safely and efficiently, 2 pulls, that was it. All right, everyone. My truck identifies as a Raptor now. Gonna get going here in just a second on this. Got the log files all connected up. If you've been following along, had the 125 millimeter pulley for the ESS blower on here originally. Now we're gonna go up and try a 100 millimeter pulley that I have. The 90 millimeter has not come in yet. As you can see, all the dashes lit up because I've got it in dyno mode for being here on our dyno jet. So we'll go through this. For those that are wondering, yes, I offer custom dyno tuning and remote tuning on F150s and Mustangs. I also do stuff with ESS in regards to selling their stuff and KPM fuel systems, both of which are on here. We can hook you up with injectors. We have a full fabrication shop available here with straight fabrication. Pretty much anything you guys might want to do to your vehicle, short of doing transmission builds. We'll build our own transmissions, but we don't do them for customers at this point, is all available here in-house. We're located up here in Spokane, Washington. So if you're interested in getting a truck build or tuned or a Mustang worked on for some tuning and performance parts, we are available pretty much within a couple of weeks right now as far as lead times are concerned, and shorter than that for the tuning. The tuning I can usually get done within about a 24 to 48 hour turnaround of you getting the tuning device from me. I am a full HP Tuners reseller. Yes, I send stuff out through HP directly or through the TDN stuff. You know, hit me up again. I've started doing a couple of LSs as well, as far as I've got a Trailblazer SS and a Camaro that I've done. So some different stuff that we've got coming out of here. But let me finish this up here as far as being ready. Got my logging set up, and we're gonna make a rip on the 100 mil pulley. I've already done some street tuning on this, so it should go pretty quickly on the dyno here today. I'm hoping for 1 or 2 pulls max. Like I said, log file is all set. We'll see what we got for fuel trims, share with you what we kind of ended up doing, and see if we pick up some good power on this going to the 100 millimeter pulley. Just as a reminder, we ended off at 715 wheel on the 125 millimeter, so we went down 5 sizes here. Started my base map. Fuel trims look better coming out of it. So basically, if I close all, like I think this one was, nope, that wasn't the one I wanted. This one. So there was where the 125 millimeter pulley was at, and this is with the 100 millimeter pulley on it. And I have a 90 millimeter that's on back order that I will get to eventually in the test. Although it is getting to the point where I think the fuel system is a little bit tapped at this point for E85, but we'll see whether or not that's true. You can just kind of see the gains across here. It really starts making steam past 5 grand. So we're up 50 wheel, 40 wheel at 5, up another 70 at 55. So it really carries it all out. And then we're up here at 7. We're making 833 versus 714 just in the pulley drops. So I'll take that. Torque is also up across the entire board too. So we picked up some good amounts of torque in all this. I'm happy. The truck's still in one piece.